All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to crack one of the oldest, most powerful codes in all of music history. Seriously, it's this secret formula that's been hiding in plain sight, a kind of master map that connects pretty much every song you've ever loved. So, yeah, let's dive in.
So what could these songs possibly have in common? I mean, really think about that for a second. Because we're about to look at a list of tunes so different from each other, you'd swear they came from different planets. And yet, they're all connected. The big question is, how?
I mean, look at this list. You've got Rick Astley's 80s pop anthem, right? Then there's Jimi Hendrix's psychedelic rock from the 60s. And way back, you have a Bach concerto from the 1700s. And then there's Barbie Girl. Yep, that Barbie Girl. On the surface, there's just no way these belong together. So what on earth is the connection?
Well, here's the secret. They all use the exact same formula. Think of it like this. They might look and sound totally different on the outside, but they're all built on the same foundational blueprint. It's like a shared musical DNA that our ears just find so satisfying. And it doesn't matter if it's from the 1700s or the 1990s.
Okay, so to find that formula, we've got to start with something called chord progressions. This is really the first step to unlocking the whole code.
So, what even is a chord progression? Well, to put it simply, it's just a series of chords. It's the harmonic skeleton that gives a song its shape and its whole emotional vibe. The best way to think about it is like a recipe. The chords, they're your ingredients. The progression, that's the order you mix them all together to get the final dish.
And over time, musicians figured out that certain recipes, certain patterns, are just incredibly powerful. They just work. And one of the most famous of all time is what people call the FIFTHS progression. It got that name because it was everywhere in that decade, but trust me, it's been around for way longer than that.
So here's how it works. Each chord in this pattern has its own special job. You start at 1, the tonic. That's your home base, where everything feels stable. Then you go to the 6th chord, which adds this little touch of sadness or nostalgia. The 2 chord comes next, and it starts building up this anticipation. And then, bam, you hit the 5 chord. This one creates this huge tension that just begs to be resolved. And where does it want to go? Right back home to the 1.
And this little journey from 1 to 6 to 2 to 5 and back home, it's the backbone of so many classic songs. You've heard it a million times in songs like Blue Moon or Why Do Fools Fall in Love. It's a formula that, for whatever reason, just works on our brains.
But that leads to an even bigger question, right? Why? Why does that specific pattern and others like it feel so right, so natural to our ears? Is it just a coincidence, or is there some deeper system, some kind of master plan that explains where these powerful patterns actually come from?
Well, there is. And this is it. The circle of fifths. This is the master map. This is the secret code we've been searching for. It's basically a universal map of music.
Okay, so what is the circle of fifths? Don't let the fancy name intimidate you. It's basically a diagram, a visual tool that lays out all 12 notes in Western music in a circle. And the rule is super simple. As you go around the circle, each note is a perfect fifth away from its neighbor. That interval, the perfect fifth, is one of the most stable, pleasing sounds in all of music.
And the way it's organized is it's beautiful. It's so elegant. Check this out. If you move clockwise, you go up a perfect fifth, and you add 1 sharp to the key. If you go counterclockwise, you go down a perfect fifth, and you add 1 flat. That's it. It's this perfect, logical, self-contained system.
But here's the most mind-blowing part. This wasn't just invented by some musician in a dusty room. The circle is based on the physics of sound itself. It's literally a visualization of the natural harmonic series. It's a map of relationships that were always there in nature, just waiting for us to discover them.
And remember that super satisfying feeling of the 5 chord wanting to go home to the 1? Well, take a look. That powerful move, maybe the most important sound in all of Western music, is just one simple step counterclockwise on the circle. G resolving to C, D resolving to G. It's right there. The map shows you the way home.
Okay, so this is way more than just a cool piece of theory. For hundreds of years, this has been an incredibly practical tool for actually making music. So let's talk about how songwriters and composers actually use this thing.
I mean, the ideas behind this go way back, all the way to ancient Greece with Pythagoras messing with string lengths. But the circle diagram we know today, that first showed up in the 1600s. Then composers like J.S. Bach basically perfected how to use it, and now, today,
it is still the invisible engine driving countless hits in pop, rock, and jazz. One of the coolest things you can do with it is something called modulation. That's just a fancy word for changing keys in the middle of a song. The circle of fifths is like the ultimate GPS for music. It shows you exactly how to get from one key to another without it sounding jarring or weird. So how does that work? Well, it turns out that keys right next to each other on the circle share a bunch of the same chords. We call them pivot chords. So let's say you're in the key of C major, and you want to move to its neighbor, G major. You can use a chord like A minor. Why? Because A minor exists naturally in both keys. It acts like a perfect smooth bridge to walk from one key into the next. Pretty clever, right? And this is where it gets really fun. The distance you travel on this map actually predicts the emotional impact of the key change. If you just move one step over to a neighbor key, it feels smooth, subtle, natural. But what if you jump clear across the circle to the other side? Whoa! That creates a huge, dramatic, energetic shift. It's a jolt to the system. And composers use this all the time to control the emotional journey of a piece of music.
All right, so now that you know this map exists, I promise you, you're never going to listen to music the same way again.
And musicians are totally in on this. Get this lyric from the band Mild High Club. They're literally singing about their own chord progression. Those numbers 4, 7, 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, that's a famous progression that just walks right around the circle of fifths. It's this awesome, modern nod to this ancient pattern. It just shows you how deep this stuff runs.
Once you have this map in your head, you're going to start hearing these patterns everywhere. In movie scores, in your favorite pop songs, in old jazz tunes. You'll hear the journey the chords are taking. You'll feel that tension and release with a totally new understanding. You've basically been handed the secret blueprint to music. So, you have the map. You have the master key. The next time you put on your favorite album or playlist, really listen. Listen for that journey. Listen for those little steps around the circle. Now that you know the code, what patterns are you going to hear next?